Hey everybody, what's up? It's Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, we wouldn't negotiate with lies. Now I was on Kwame Brown's podcast. Shout out to Kwame Brown, man. He's doing a great service, and one thing he's doing that separates him from your Boyce Watkins, your all the black grifters. You know what I'm saying? That grift inferiority. You know what I'm saying? One thing Kwame's not doing, unlike others that made it or made some money, is that he's not telling you what you can't do. You know, one thing you'll see from a lot of black grifters, black guys that grift race, and grift the race, race war and all that, is they'll always tell you what you can't do. Here's what we can't do. This invisible white man is trying to stop us from doing anything, and you don't hear that from Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown is just telling you what you can do and should be doing to help your community. And shout out to Kwame Brown. Let me on. It's an honor, man. The man is willing to let you talk. The man is willing to teach you some things and learn from you as well, man. I hope he does make that account on BitChute and Odyssey, and just keep expanding. And very soon, I hope he gets a assistant of sorts. But to me, Kwame's speaking a hard-boiled truth. Him and Carasino for life. They're spitting a lot of facts. Cold hard facts. Now, this video is basically why the media won't respect black men. Now, why the media won't respect black men. Now, a lot of people will say, man, it's been happening. Of course, Stephen A. Smith's a major aspect of it. And even, forgive my man, even Shannon Sharp now is, comparing a shoebox to Kyle Kuzma and so on, But here, this is, but it's even before them. Now, why will black athletes continue to be disrespected by the media? Now, a lot of people say, oh man, this started in 2000s or 90s. You could even go to the 80s. But in reality, it started even before majority of us were born. And it started when Jackie Robinson. What the media is suffering from, and this, as I explain it, I'll go further and you'll understand that a lot of black athletes suffer from what I call Jackie Robinson syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Robinson syndrome. Remember this. Now, what is Jackie Robinson syndrome? Well, you have to understand what Jackie Robinson accomplished and what he did and what he proved. Now, Jackie Robinson played for the Negro League. League of his own people and so on. And what he did is he left the Negro League for the MLB. Now, the MLB did not even count his accomplishments in the Negro League. But that's one thing. Now, this is why I tell a lot of people, man, your child shouldn't be idolizing Jackie Robinson. You shouldn't be idolizing any athlete, any black athlete that had the mentality of Jackie Robinson. You know what I'm saying? And this is why most black people, black athletes will not get any respect because of what Jackie Robinson did. Now, when Jackie Robinson left the Negro League, and you could watch the film. Now, did the MLB, now imagine, this is a time during a high levels of racism. You know what I'm saying? High levels of racism, high levels of issues, you know what I'm saying, between blacks and whites. Blacks still getting hung and killed and so on. But what did Jackie Robinson do? He joined the MLB, white-owned MLB. And now, what did the MLB offer him? The MLB offered him to play. Did the MLB, which knows what's going on with the difference between how blacks are being treated by the government and by the civil law and civil rights, they didn't care about that. but they told Jackie Robinson he could play. And this is where Jackie Robinson syndrome starts. You know, the MLB did not offer him any ownership. You think the MLB would say, man, you know, he's a black athlete. He's coming to play even during all these troubled times, the civil unrest and all the civil issues and racial issues between blacks and whites. You think they'd offer him a piece of ownership, or the team he played for would offer him a piece of ownership as he's playing as basically an ambassador for black people in a white-owned, majority-white league. You think they would have offered him that. You know what I'm saying? Because of what he's doing and how he'll basically break racial boundaries and actually showcase that a black athlete is like, you know, any athlete, like a white athlete, just a person playing a sport that's very gifted. No, the MLB didn't offer him anything. All they offered him was here's a contract to play. And they didn't even offer him, you know, you might have to look up the contract they paid him, but they didn't offer him a major amount. You know, they didn't treat him like an ambassador. But here's why, and I call it Jackie Robinson syndrome. Now, what was Jackie playing for? Jackie Robinson was playing for the MLB. Now, he got a lot of racial threats, death threats. And what did they tell him? Oh, don't worry about it, Jackie. Don't worry about it, Jackie. They're going to eventually like you. You know what I'm saying? So play through them calling you nigger, you know, threatening to kill you and all that. Play for this league until they start cheering and admire you. So this is where Jackie Robinson syndrome starts, and why the black athlete can be disrespected and can openly be disrespected by ESPN, your Stephen A. Smiths, your Fox News Sports, your Shannon Sharps, and all that. Why all black athletes can openly be disrespected is that Jackie Robinson played for the cheers, the validation, and the approval of the white fans without having any ownership at all. Just strictly all he wanted was for them to cheer for him and, you know, show some support. And this is the MLB at the moment. This is before there was a basketball league. The MLB, like I said, the MLB didn't offer him any ownership. The MLB didn't fight for any civil rights. The MLB didn't show any respect to the Negro League by having crossover games. You know, it didn't do nothing. Didn't offer ownership or none. You know, they offered him cheers and validation from the white fans. And, you know, he was playing the same game for the Negro League, but the cheers of the white fans, all the cheers of the white fans, it's worth playing in a league, risking your life for MLB, a sports league that isn't even helping out the black people or the racial issues, offering you any ownership. No, you get to play for them. You get to break barriers, and that barrier is that, oh, now white fans gonna cheer for me. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna cheer for me. I'm gonna get to sign autographs for the white fans. So they're gonna value me as an athlete. Keyword, let me rewind. They're going to value me as an athlete. So, you know, Jackie Robinson played for the MLB. They didn't offer him ownership. They didn't offer to help with any racial issues. They didn't do nothing but offer him to play for the MLB. They didn't even count what he did and achieved in the Negro League. I mean, they just started counting the Negro League, accomplishments. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, they added up those stats too. But, you know, he left a league owned by his own people to play for a white-owned league. You know what I'm saying? And look at that. And then while he was playing, and you'll hear this is going to be a very cliche thing. You hear a lot of black athletes say, you know, you don't hear it from white athletes because the white athletes are aware they have civil liberties. They they're basically respected under the law. You know what I mean? But you'll hear this from black athletes, but I had to break ground. I was the first black athlete on, this white team. I was the first leader. I had to break ground. I had to break ground for and open barriers. Basically, they're glorifying the fact that they had to play during a time of racism to achieve validation from the white fans. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're glorifying. You'll hear this from LeBron. You'll hear this from a lot of black athletes where they'll tell you, you broke barriers, man. You were the first, he was the first, black shooting guard. He was the first black point guard. You know what I'm saying? He broke barriers in the NBA and all this. But in reality, look at a guy like Dr. J, who played for the ABA, won a championship there. Did they give Dr. J any ownership? Did they offer him any ownership in the NBA? Did the NBA offer any black athlete ownership? You know what I'm saying? Give you some ownership so you can have some power, so you can get more respect, especially during the racial climates and the fact that the country isn't fully equal and you're still playing amongst athletes. You're playing amongst a league full of players that enjoy a racial level of respect. You yourself as a black athlete don't. But none of the league did. The MLB didn't offer them. The NBA didn't offer a piece of ownership. It only offered these black athletes a chance to obtain white validation as athletes. That's why you see athletes, and you can't technically blame the white fans that once a player stops playing or once the game is over, they start cursing at them or calling them racial things or racial stuff, or the athlete's no longer playing and they get treated with racial tension and stuff, because you as a black athlete with Jackie Robinson syndrome, you place the value of them validating your athleticism over them validating your humanity. This is why black athletes will not get any respect. They project and promote obtaining validation over their humanity. So you'll see a lot of black athletes say, oh man, like I said, we broke barriers, we broke ground. Dude, you don't own nothing. You don't own nothing. You don't own the league. You don't own anything. But you're breaking ground by being one of the first black athletes for white fans to cheer for as a point guard. First black quarterback for white fans to cheer for. And you know what I'm saying? As you can see, it goes through the NFL. It goes through the NFL as well. You know what I'm saying? It goes through the NFL as well. Because NFL, when black people were playing for the NFL, didn't offer them any ownership. And the reason I bring up ownership is that ownership would affect how the authorities would treat this black person and their impact on the political system. Instead, the NFL, MLB just made them first black person to play running back, first black person to play safety, and these black people went along with it. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. Here's why I say I call it Jackie Robinson syndrome. While Jackie Robinson was going to games, his life was on the line, his family and friends' lives were on the line. What did the MLB do? Nothing. The MLB didn't go to help racial tension or racial divide. It did nothing. And Jackie Robinson was risking his life instead of playing for the Negro League, a league of his own people that they could have built and expanded upon. Nope, he went to the MLB where they literally did nothing for racial issues. You know what I'm saying? But they did give him that white validation because, God forbid only black people, or at the time the Irish or Chinese, whatever, God forbid only they validate your athleticism and your skill. You know what I'm saying? So this is, to fast forward, this is why the media and white-owned media doesn't respect any black people. And technically they shouldn't. The reason they shouldn't is because they know you're playing for their validation. Since Jackie Robinson, blacks have been playing for white-owned validation and white teams validation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you don't see any respect for the black athletes. You know what I'm saying? That's why you don't see any respect. That's why you'll have Stephen A. openly mock black athletes. You know, you'll see Skip Bayless call Chris Bosh Spicy Bosh. You know, openly disrespect them when they get a drug charge, but laugh when a white athlete gets a drug charge and says nothing, because they know you're playing strictly for their validation and their opinion on you. You know what I'm saying? Since Jackie Robinson, you've been playing for their opinion, their cheers, and what they think of you. That's why I call it Jackie Robinson syndrome. And that's the majority of athletes. You'll hear from LeBron, oh, thank God the NBA, man. The NBA, man. Thank God it allows us to play with our brothers, you know what I mean? Thank God for the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Because thank God for their ownership, and thank God for them giving you an opportunity to obtain validation through them. And this is why I call it Jackie Robinson syndrome. LeBron wants to own a team just like Jordan. Jordan owns the Charlotte Bobcats, you know what I'm saying? But Jordan could have owned his own league with Nike backing him, having the most recognized logo on earth, you know what I'm saying? But it would not just be, it wouldn't be the ownership, it wouldn't be the validation of the white ownership. That's why Jordan bought the Charlotte Bobcats. Yes, he owns a team, but he doesn't own the league. You know what I'm saying? So he just owns a team in the league. You know what I mean? So it's Jackie Robinson syndrome. The majority of black athletes have Jackie Robinson syndrome, where they'll risk their lives. They'll risk their lives just for the validation as an athlete, with the afterthought of their humanity. That's why you look at the white fan base and so on. If they respect you as an athlete, like for example, I've seen it where you watch a TV network where, you know, a white fan base will cheer for the athlete on the court. Yay, go! Then when you get off the court, you know, they boo them, or, you know, they call them a nigger, whatever, N-word, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because it's their right. They could. I mean, this is what you wanted. You said you wanted respect as an athlete. You didn't want respect as a human. You know what I mean? A man or a person of humanity. This is what Jackie Robinson syndrome did. And you could see it where a lot of black athletes are so proud to say, man, I was the first in this white league. I was the first. I was the best. When you don't own nothing, and that ownership in that league isn't doing anything for racial issues. If the NBA, the MLB, the NFL cared, they would have been given ownership to the families of those players that broke ground. You know what I'm saying? It should have been gave him. Jackie Robinson should have got ownership for starting in the league at that climate. You know what I'm saying? But nothing. But, before I go even further. But, and another thing is, notice Jackie Robinson left a league owned by his own people. And this is why you see the blacks, are so prone to selling out and buying in. We don't talk about buying in. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Robinson bought in. Oh, Jackie, you're gonna get a baseball card from the MLB. You're gonna get some stats counted by the MLB, kid. You're gonna get and be one of the best MLB players of all time, Jackie. Jackie, baby, you're gonna be a star. You know what I'm saying? And he signs up for the MLB that does nothing. His friends have to risk their lives to go watch him. His wife's life is in danger. Other blacks are in danger coming to watch and all that. All this for the validation. All this for the white fan base and white ownership to validate his athleticism. And you see this all over. You even see this with what's happening with Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? And where, they boo, they curse him out, he gets disrespected for his skill. But rather than starting his own league, starting his own boxing promotion, so, you know what I'm saying? They will just tolerate it because that white validation for a black person is worth more than anything. It's like I tell people, man, no black people won't move to Africa. You want to know why? There's not enough white validation in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And that's shout out to Kwame Brown for bringing this type of stuff to light. But this is what happens. This is why you get disrespected. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Robinson syndrome. Jackie Robinson syndrome implies you will abandon your own people. You will play for strictly validation and to break ground to have them support you. You'll see a lot of black athletes say, oh man, this is the biggest cliche, he paved the way, man. He paved the way in the NBA, man. He paved the way and got white people to accept us for playing for them. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see and some people listening to this might say I'm racist. No, I'm not being racist. I'm just pointing out the facts. The majority ownership of the media is white. The majority population of the country is white. You know what I'm saying? I'm just dropping the facts right now. So this is what Jackie Robinson syndrome is. And even though think about it, you had a player playing for the Negro League in the 1800s, and he leaves a league of his own people during the 1800s to go play for the MLB. And what does the MLB do? Or every time it's Jackie Robinson's birthday, we have the number 42 day where every player wears his jersey. What about ownership? What about Jackie Robinson's family owning? You know what I'm saying? Well, what about ownership? Ownership in the MLB, since they help break ground and color barriers and all that crap. You know what I'm saying? What about ownership and some actual power that could affect how authorities in the government could deal with the black people? None. You know what I'm saying? The MLB didn't offer nothing. The NFL didn't offer nothing. The NBA didn't offer anything. You know what I'm saying? All they offered was a chance to play for them and obtain white validation. Something the black American man just thirsts for. You know what I'm saying? It's like I tell people, man, there's nothing worth more in America to a black man than white validation. You know what I'm saying? Look at Jackie Robinson. You had stats in the Negro League, but no, they didn't count. They didn't count like the white stats, the white fans, reading your stats and saying they have value. You know what I mean? So this is what it is, Jackie Robinson syndrome. LeBron James has Jackie Robinson syndrome. You got Shaq. There's a lot of athletes with Jackie Robinson syndrome. For example, and I love, Shaq, that's one of my favorites, man. I love Shaquille O'Neal as a player, as a person. He's a funny, he's joyful, he's a good dude. But the fact that Shaq, and I'll give you an example, Shaq's son went through a heart surgery. And the fact that Shaq would still put his son to play for free in college, when Shaq explained that in college he was going hungry, he was starving. Why would you put your son through a system that you had to survive? You know what I mean? It just shows how loyal to that white validation the black person is. And then once they achieve their validation, this same college system that didn't pay athletes, you got stories of black athletes starving, going hungry. You got stories of these black athletes getting injured. There's an athlete right now who played football, got injured. They let him in to play with a concussion, a bad concussion. And they didn't protect him. He got injured bad. They just kicked him out, and he's in a trailer with his parents, severely injured, in need of a surgery. And this college system that made billions of dollars didn't even help him out. You know what I'm saying? Black people suffer. The black athletes suffer from Jackie Robinson syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Robinson syndrome is real, where an athlete will just play for your validation, your cheering. You know what I'm saying? And then you come off the court, and let's say, you got some racist white fans here and there. You know, what's the problem with it? You only value them validating your athleticism, not your humanity. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of players. This is why the media, your Stephen A. Smiths, your all these people openly attacked Kwame Brown, and they know the black athlete has no ownership. You know what I'm saying? They don't, and that the majority of black athletes will continue to think a white-owned sports team for their validation and all, man. You broke so much ground. Thank God for the NBA, man. You know what I'm saying? Where you won't try to own anything. You know what I'm saying? All this disrespect has to do with ownership. I mean, as I spoke with Kwame about how they're drafting European players above the players in America, above the black players in America that are ranked top 25, and they're drafting a European player like a Luka Doncic, Ricky Rubio above an American player, a black American player, because they know the majority of black athletes have no ownership and they can disrespect them as they please. You don't want to own nothing. You won't do anything on your own. So they can openly disrespect you. That's why they're drafting guys from Slovakia or whatever above an American player with more talent and more ability. And that they've even started saying it's raw talent. He has so much potential. Yeah, but dude, the black American player is ready to go right now. So why are you drafting a player from overseas above him? Because they can disrespect you, just like the NFL. All these leagues can openly disrespect the black athlete because they know you suffer from Jackie Robinson syndrome. The NFL ain't worried that a group of black athletes will come together and make their own NFL. They're not. The NBA isn't worried about no blacks starting their own basketball league. Shout out to Ice Cube, who started the Big Three. You know, Big Three is a very different sport. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ice Cube. But, they're not afraid. The NBA isn't afraid that, you'll start a black-owned basketball league. You won't. They're not afraid you'll start a baseball league. They're not afraid at all. And they will continue to disrespect. The media will continue to disrespect because you don't own anything. The biggest problem in black America is ownership. The black American will make every other race wealthy as they seek out riches. And then when they retire, now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, a lot of them, will come and say, oh, we together, and, we can't get anything done. You know what I'm saying? They keep holding us back. Now all of a sudden their spotlight and the white validation is off of them. Now they want to help each other and so on. Now there's a difference. In Kwame's case, he was made an example. They drafted him number one and sabotaged his career to actually create the perspective where you wouldn't draft American players from high school anymore, because the problem with drafting American players from high school straight into the NBA is that A, the colleges lose some talent, you know what I'm saying, and B, it's harder to bring in the players from overseas because the American players will be too ahead of them, too technical. You know what I'm saying? I'll do a video on basketball. But basically, the media does not have to respect any black athlete. They don't have to. They'll reprimand a few here and there, but you'll have Shannon Sharpe saying, you know what I'm saying, man, I'd trade for Kyle Kuzma for a shoebox. It's okay if a fan does that. Fans joking. They're not a professional, company. You know what I mean? This was openly disrespecting an athlete. But, that's different. But, you know what I'm saying? But the media will openly continue to disrespect black athletes because They don't have to respect. They know there is no threat. I mean, even in today's age, there's a YouTube channel that's, there's multiple independent YouTube channels or online websites that cover sports. They know the black athlete will still seek out coverage from NBC, all the top white-owned companies, rather than invest in solely coverage from their own people. You know what I'm saying? The black man in America is the most influential person on earth. You know what I'm saying? That new dances. The black man makes so many other people wealthy. And think about it. You got to look at it like this. Slavery, blacks were forced to make everyone else wealthy. After slavery, blacks volunteered to make everyone else wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And they know it. They know you blacks won't do it. There was one black person, and shout out to LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball is going to go down in history as one of the most influential people to basketball. You know what I'm saying? He took his sons overseas. He didn't want to play by the rules the NBA was setting up. He started his own league. You know, shout out to Kwame Brown, who came and told his story of what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people like to call a man a bust, but there's a worse. He was his career. He was forced to not play. They wore him out. And B, there's another bust worse than him. And it was a white bust player, but they won't cover that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about disrespecting and keeping the black athlete in line. Because, hey, we have what the black athlete values the most: white validation. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like I said, the black athlete black people are not going to Africa. Black people are not going anywhere where the majority are black or, Negro. You know what I'm saying? Negro is the proper term, because there's not enough white validation to go around. You know what I'm saying? That's why you won't see them there. And, a lot of athletes, like I said, suffer from Jackie Robinson syndrome. And listen to that, Jackie Robinson. You know what I'm saying? He left a league of his own people to play for white people during the 1800s, out of all times. You know what I'm saying? He had to play while they booed him, cursed him, threatened to kill him. But they said, Jackie, keep playing, boy, keep playing, Jackie. They're gonna eventually give you validation, Jackie. They're eventually gonna love you, kid. They're gonna eventually cheer for you, and you're gonna sign autographs. Jackie. And you know what I'm saying? He played through all that, cursing and booing. And you'll hear this from a lot of black athletes that will look up to Jackie Robinson. Or he broke ground. He broke barriers. He broke his barriers because he done gotten white folk to cheer for us and likes us, the ways we plays. Oh, Oz thanks Jackie Robinsons. You know what I'm saying? He left for league of his own people, not for ownership, just to play for their validation. All the white networks know. They know a black person will not leave them. Black person will come straight to them for validation. You know what I'm saying? Even if, like I said, shout out to Ice Cube. You know what I mean? But they know you won't, even if you start your own. Ice Cube went through the TV networks and so on. You know what I'm saying? And they covered him. They even messed up his time slot. They know they don't gotta respect you. You know what I'm saying? They'll mess up the time slot. They won't put any coverage because you don't own their station. You don't have any ownership in their television. You don't have anybody that looks like you that owns anything from them. You know what I'm saying? And shout out, man, if you haven't joined fandom, join fandom, man. Shout out to Isaac Hayes Jr., man. He's a black man who started fandom, his own social media, and I plan to follow suit very soon. Shout out to Isaac Hayes Jr., man. I had some convos with him on Instagram a couple times. Solid dude. Shout out to Isaac Hayes Jr., who's doing, who's owning something. But like I said, a lot of black athletes suffer from Jackie Robinson syndrome. You know what I'm saying? I said they disrespected Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson played. You know what I'm saying? They demonized Kobe Bryant right after Kobe died. You openly had them bring up a rape charge that he was found not guilty for. The media openly disrespected him because they know you black people don't own what you're best at and making money at. Black people don't own hip hop. They don't own their own stations. They don't own their own performance centers. And you're not loyal to your own people. You know what I'm saying? You don't own the media knows you don't own your own boxing league. You know what I'm saying? You all throughout American history, whenever a black man had power, came into money, you know, especially for sports, that black man would just, not invest in his own people, not start his own league. How can you generate billions of dollars? You know what I'm saying? You generate billions of dollars making other people wealthy while you get a couple riches. A lot of rappers and, you know what I'm saying? And who's usually the owner of the label? You know what I'm saying? And when you do own your own label, you sell it out. Def Jam was sold, BT was sold. Whenever blacks own something, they'll sell it out without understanding what they're giving up. You know what I'm saying? This is why the black athlete will never get any respect. You don't own anything. You know what I'm saying? And even when you own something, you're still reaching to the people that openly said will disrespect you because you don't own anything here. You'll still come to them for validation, you know what I'm saying, for award shows and all that crap instead of hosting your own award shows. This is why it's like this, man, and it's going to continue to be like this until blacks want to own something. LeVar Ball owned his own league, you know what I'm saying, when he started JBL. To me, he should have teamed up with more, former NBA players, reached out to a lot more. But, they demonized the hell out of him on the media, the mainstream media, because he didn't reach out a lot he didn't have a channel to the independent media, his own people's media. And when it comes to black people, you don't own nothing. So it's easy to attack you at all times. You know what I'm saying? You had black people stop using TikTok, protest. Oh man, they're not paying us for our dances or giving us coverage. Well, how many years do you have to see when you don't own something, they can do whatever the hell they want to you? This is what the black person suffering. But by God, I'm addicted to that white validation. I mean, I can't. I just thinking about it, you know what I'm saying? A bowl of white validation, cheering, autographs. Oh man, it's so good. But what about just having autographs from your own people? Nah, I'm good. I don't want that. I want to start a Negro League. Bling. You know what I mean? Message. But like I said, man, this is why. This is why Stephen A. and all these guys will continue. It has to do with ownership. Until black people own everything, or talk to people that of their own people that own things, they won't force. If, for example, if NBC, ABC, all these CNNs and all of them know that you're not coming to them, you going to your people first. You might go to that independent black YouTuber who covers sports, or that independent blogger, that independent TV network, black owned, whatever, first. Then the CNNs and all of them will start showing respect. Then the medias will show respect because they'll see that you have your own outlets and you will not hesitate to skip and bypass them. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say with Floyd, I'm like, man, Floyd might have started his own with how much they disrespected Floyd Mayweather. And you see Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson is arguing with Floyd for no reason, when you should look at, we're two black men, we don't own anything. What the hell we arguing about? We're not sitting at the top of the mountain. We're both at the bottom arguing. You know what I'm saying? You start your own boxing promotion. You know what I mean? Get your own Golden Gloves and top fighters to fight in your promotion. You know what I'm saying? A TMT World Heavyweight Champion, a TMT Lightweight Champion. You know what I'm saying? Start your own league. And I plan to do a video where I'm literally going to break it down how it could be done. You know what I'm saying? And as for one thing Kwame brought up is, you know what I'm saying, how do we fix our own communities? What we have to do is you would create your own league and do a reimbursement program of probably a good, let's say 10 to 20%. So let's say some black people own their own basketball league. 10% of that money should be reimbursed and reinvested into the community for coding, jobs, whatever. That's how you do it. But because black people are so focused on playing by the rules the white people set, you know what I'm saying, that was set before them. Oh man, when I start a business, it's got to be for profit 100%. We just make and take. We just make and take. Make and take. Well, what happens when the people can't give anymore? Then what? All you've done is take. So you didn't give anything back. So they're literally starved. It's kind of like you're planting in the soil and you never rejuvenate the soil. That's what people do. You know what I mean? The black person, music, the influence black people have. Other races are literally watching the black American. Oh, what they gonna do next? What's gonna be the next dance and rap? What's gonna be the next way they dress? What's gonna be next? And you don't want to own any of that. You know what I'm saying? I plan to do a video where I literally break it down, and I'm literally gonna set it up, how it could be started, whose money, all that stuff. Cause how hard would it be for a black person to start a league where they're paying the black athletes, let's say out of high school, let's say it's 50 grand a year, you know, at the minimum, at the lowest, whatever. 50 grand a year beats starving at home in the hood, just dying of starvation. You know what I mean? How many kids wouldn't want to just play for 50 grand a year? Just playing basketball. Then you have, you know, advertisement, you know, sponsorships you could do with them. They'll make more than 50,000. You know what I'm saying? Off the court, you know, dancing, all this stuff, man. There's so much. It's just that black people in America are too busy. They want to chase the white people from behind. They want to chase white people. They don't want to be ahead or give them a good competition, a good run for their money. They just want to be behind them. It's like I said, man. It's Jackie Robinson. Think of Jackie Robinson left the Negro League in the 1800s to play for the MLB. That didn't offer him ownership or nothing. They just offered him white, sweet, Jackie boy, I'm offering you sweet white validation, Jackie. You're gonna be able to sign autographs for the white kids, get hugs from the white people. Jackie, you're gonna be beautiful. You're gonna be marvelous, Jackie. And when you retire, we're gonna make it a national number 42 day where everybody wears a number 42 jersey, Jackie. Oh, Oz do it, boss. Oz plays for the Oz leaves the Negro Leagues right now. Oz leaves it to plays for the MLBs. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Jackie Robinson syndrome. The mainstream knows that the black man in America puts white validation above everything. Their life, they're willing to risk their life for it. Jackie Robinson. You know what I'm saying? They're willing to risk everything for white acceptance and white validation. And then you can't blame the white people when you say you're willing to do it, and openly will say, thank God, man, they broke barriers for us to play. You know what I mean? They broke barriers for us to play sports for thems and under theirs ownerships. Thank yous. You know what I'm saying? So this is what happened, man. Jackie Robinson syndrome. That's what the majority of black athletes are suffering from. That's why the mainstream media doesn't need to respect. They know You're like a addict. You'll come right back for your next hit of white validation and white approval. You know what I'm saying? You'll never put yourself first, your culture, your people first. You won't do it. There's only a couple. Shout out to Master P, man. Shout out to Master P. You know what I mean? Master P, shout out. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kanye West. You know what I mean? Started his own clothing brand, second richest black man. You know, shout out to them. That's different, man. Shout out to Master P, man. Ice Cube, you know, Ice Cube to me just needs to get with more young and influential YouTubers to cover his games. Have them talk. You don't need the mainstream. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be a lot better. But like I said, man, blacks suffer from Jackie Robinson syndrome. You know what I'm saying? And the media knows you place their input, you place their opinions of you above all, above your life. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Robinson proved this, and other black athletes continue to prove this. I mean, you could even go back in history, the first black heavyweight champion, you know, he made the wrench, you know what I mean? But did he start his own training camp? Did he start getting his own people and making them fight his own league or his own stuff? No. You know what I mean? Muhammad Ali, he trained some people, but, after what he been through, the history speaks, man. White validation for the black American is worth more than gold, worth more than their life. You know what I'm saying? And, that's why, man. And shout out to Kwame Brown for bringing stuff like this up. But this is the reason, man. This is the reason you will not see any respect. Now, what Kwame's doing, he's getting it because he's got his YouTube channel. Once he spreads to other platforms and eventually, makes his own platform or talks to Isaac Hayes Jr., who's a black man who owns his own fandom. You know what I'm saying? It's all about ownership. You know what I mean? Even if you're not the only owner, you as a black man have to own something. We're not a victim. Like, I'm on YouTube right now. I know I'm shadow banned, but it's YouTube's, they own YouTube. It's their platform. Whether they do me right or wrong, it's their platform. And, soon, trust me, soon they'll be replaced. Soon they'll be replaced enough. Very soon it's coming. But like I said, man, black people need to get away from Jackie Robinson syndrome. Jackie Robinson syndrome, where you're willing to risk your family's life. You're willing to leave a league owned by your own people just to play like some little monkey at a circus for some white validations and claps. You know what I'm saying? You gotta listen to this, dude. During slavery, black people had to work and make whites wealthy. After slavery, black people volunteer to work and make whites wealthy. That's the major problem. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to see a lot of these black grifters, your Dr. Boyce Watkins, what the hell is his name, man? I forget his name. Your Jesse Jacksons, what the hell is Al Sharptons, these black grifters that will keep telling you, oh, they want to keep us down. They want to keep us down. They want to keep us down. We can't do nothing. We can't do nothing. If we can't do nothing, how come we're making them billionaires? How come you're making them wealthy? And how come they keep preaching we can't do something? If it was like the sky is blue, water is wet, then why would someone keep advertising? The reason they keep advertising blacks can't do nothing because they know if you wake up and say, you know what, we could do it on our own and do it for ourselves, now they won't be reaping all the wealth and benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have all these ads and all these freaking bums and always hearing Mike, I have a dream speech. Well, dude, we don't live in a dream. We live in a real, a true world. The time for I have a dream is done. We don't have no dreams. We have a reality. We're awake. You know what I'm saying? You're awake and your eyes are open. Dreams are for those with their eyes closed. You're awake with goals and you can visualize and see the true world for what it is. But like I said, man, they won't need to respect anybody because blacks have Jackie. The majority of black athletes have Jackie Robinson syndrome. They don't want to own nothing. They just want to do everything in their power as athletes to achieve and obtain the as much white validation as they can. MVPs. I mean, look what happened to Shaq. They literally robbed Shaquille O'Neal of an MVP and they gave it to Steve Nash because they got tired of a black athlete winning the MVP. You know what I'm saying? It's their league though, right or wrong, it's their league because blacks don't want to own nothing. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. The Rock bought the XFL. He now owns the XFL. You know what I'm saying? I like to bring up those of us that are doing things as well. It's not all of us are doing nothing. You know, that's why I don't say it. But shout out to The Rock, man. The Rock owns the XFL. Hopefully he gets it moving. You know, I think he should start a tournament, then start a league. But shout out to LeVar Ball. Shout out to Kwame Brown. Shout out to Carcino, you know, for that coverage on Steve Jackson. Shout out, man. Shout out to all the blacks that don't suffer from Jackie Robinson syndrome. Shout out. It's been Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, we wouldn't negotiate with lies. Peace. Shout out. Thank you, Kwame Brown. Be safe, man, and make them backups. You know what I mean?